Hello everyone, this is Dr. Miles, and today we're going to be talking about a few antibacterial herbs. So, as I mentioned in the announcement post, there are, a lot of what is talked about with gut health is probiotics, but not everyone talks about the fact that there are herbs in nature that are designed to kill off things, if you will, such as bacteria and yeast. And so these herbs I have used, I'm going to go into some herbs that are not per se gut health based. There are some herbs that are just antibacterial in general, or they're more specific of an antibacterial for other parts of the body. But I just wanted to give you a mix of different antibacterial herbs to keep in mind. So when I'm working with people on their digestive health, and I see that they do in fact have a bacterial overload or a yeast overgrowth, this is when I will usually start implementing herbs to help to eliminate that, or significantly reduce it, and then later on put in probiotics. So my history was one of being diagnosed with IBS and also experiencing at various times bacterial overgrowth or yeast overgrowth. And so I had already experienced that sometimes probiotics were enough and sometimes they were not. And it was through using other means like herbs to help eliminate bacteria or eliminate yeast. That's when I really started to notice a change. And then the probiotics could be added in later and be more effective. So just going to go through a few herbs today that are considered antibacterial. There's a whole world of them, so this is only a few. So the first one is Allium cepa. So Allium cepa is actually onion. So Allium cepa is anti-inflammatory. You can also see it used for allergies as well. And it is helpful for reducing bacteria within the gastrointestinal tract in the cases of dysentery and possibly ulcers as well. It also helps to tone blood vessels. So Allium sativa is one that most of you all know, which is garlic. So garlic has been shown to be effective against staph and strep. The oil is used in combination with mullein oil for earaches and ear infections. It enhances the immune system, lowers cholesterol, and it is an antiplatelet aggregant, so it lowers blood viscosity. So if you are someone who needs to be on, if you are someone who has a problem with, if you are on blood thinners, garlic or high doses of garlic may not always be in your best interest. It just depends. It may not be best for you to use it medicinally if you are on blood thinners, because you don't want to thin your blood too much, right? But for most people who are not in that circumstance, garlic is, as most of us know by cooking with it all the time, it's fairly safe. It also helps to dilate blood vessels, and so from that, and it may also help with lowering the blood pressure a bit. So at this point, if when you hear onion and garlic, some of you have probably have some tradition passed down from your grandparents where there was a mix of onion and garlic and just all these different spices to create a massive immune tonic that you take when you feel sick. And so, yes, Allium cepa, which is onion, and Allium sativa, which is garlic, do have properties that help to reduce bacterial infections, and also, as I mentioned with garlic, help to enhance the immune system. So myrrh is another one that I think we only hear about. I think most of us have only heard about it when we're talking about the Bible, because you hear, that they brought Jesus frankincense and myrrh. But myrrh is more than just that. It's still around. It's still something that we can use today. So myrrh is a common ingredient in European toothpaste to help fight bacteria that causes tooth decay. It also aids in healing the gut mucosa and improves what's called galt and Peyer's patches, in Peyer's patch function. So yes, in myrrh, in the case of myrrh, it can be used for the mouth and the GI tract. It supports immune function, both by stimulating production and activity of white blood cells, and it has been historically used to reduce infection and inflammation of mucous membranes. So your GI system has a mucous membrane. Your lungs have a mucous membrane. This is part of the immune system as well. There's a mucosal layer, if you will, that is supposed to be there. And when it's compromised, that's when you can start to have digestive issues. So myrrh can be helpful in restoring the gut mucosa. Myrrh has been used for a number of conditions in the past, some of which I will name here, which is aphthous stomatitis, gingivitis, tonsillitis, pharyngitis, laryngitis, sinusitis, respiratory infections, and gastrointestinal inflammation and infection. So most of those you'll see that those had to do with tonsillitis. This is up here, pharyngitis, the throat, laryngitis, all of this area, sinusitis, the nose. This is all the respiratory system. So as I mentioned before, there's a mucosal layer and a mucosal membrane within the respiratory tract, as well as the gastrointestinal system. So myrrh can be helpful for both of those areas. And then Echinacea, which most of us know about as well. It can be effective against many bacteria, including staph, strep, and proteus. It can be helpful in upper respiratory tract infections, especially if there is a weakened immunity. And it's good to dose at the first sign of infection. So this is something that I can definitely attest to. Whenever I have felt like something was coming on, I would be aggressive with the Echinacea, and that's when I would see it be quite effective. So this may be a good time, if you don't have it laying around the house, to just have like some Echinacea tea sitting there just in case, so you have something on hand. Try to think about the things that you might experience that you would want something right then and there, versus you get to the point where you don't feel like you can go anywhere, because you're just not feeling well at that point. You want to have those things on hand, and so Echinacea tea can be one of them. So the last two are burdock. So I'll go into that. Burdock is an antibacterial herb. It's not used or well known in that light. Burdock is more so commonly used or well known for its liver support. So milk thistle is one that you've probably heard of, and it's all over various liver supportive supplements, liver cleansing supplements. But milk thistle, from how I've read it and seen it used, is more support, more rebuilding, more regenerative, where something like burdock root is really cleansing. It's moving the liver. So if you're only relying on milk thistle, this is why I think that a lot of the supplement companies don't put milk thistle by itself. They try to put it with a lot of other things. But when I'm looking to really move somebody's liver, milk thistle is not the first one on my mind. Burdock might be one of them. So burdock is, as I mentioned, more known for liver cleansing. It does have some antibacterial activity. But the other thing when it comes to digestive health, that also I don't think is always implemented when it comes to digestive health or gut rebuilding protocols or leaky gut rebuilding protocols, is the component or the role that the liver and gallbladder play in digestion. So the liver and the gallbladder are going to secrete what's called bile acids into the small intestines. These acids are helpful in terms of emulsifying fats so that they can later be digested by enzymes like lipase. So it's part of the digestion of the fats. So if you don't tolerate greasy foods very well, or you don't tolerate fat very well, this may be stemming from maybe the bile acids are not being secreted as well as they could be. These bile acids also go into the intestines and help to regulate the bacteria that is in there. It also helps to improve peristalsis, meaning the movement of contents along the intestinal tract. So this is all very much part of balancing, keeping a good balance of bacteria within the gut. So probiotics can be helpful from that angle too, but just know it's not the only way to help balance out bacteria within the gut. So burdock is great for that. And the last one is Oregon grapefruit. So Oregon grapefruit has some antibacterial activity. It's also, burdock and Oregon grapefruit are also called alteratives. So I'll probably get into that in another live video. But alternatives help to cleanse and purify the blood. And so this can be really helpful for moving toxins out of the system. This is one of the ways that herbs can be helpful in truly detoxing the body, removing things from the body that don't need to be there so that it can function better. So usually if I'm using things like alternatives, it's usually because of something else going on in the system. And so I'm usually creating a blend that may include alternatives in it to help really rebalance and rebuild and also cleanse the body. So it's funny because I was just looking at a post someone else made on social media, and they were presenting the theories of, do we medicate or do we clean the body? And my response was, you do both. And so for me, of course, with the whole medicate side, I am, of course, I'm doing the herbs and the nutrients. And but if it's somebody who could, in fact, prescribe medication, it's not that I'm completely against it. It's just that that's not the only thing that has to happen. So, for instance, if somebody has high blood pressure, I'm going to do things to help to lower the blood pressure, right? But if their blood pressure is like 200 over 100, yeah, they need to be on them. It's better for them to be on medication right then and there to keep the blood pressure at a safer level. And then I would be working on them over time to help drop that blood pressure even further. So, yeah, just wanted to bring this to your attention that there are herbs in nature that are antibacterial. This is something that is probably going to be more in the forefront over time due to the very known issue that is happening within the medical system, and that is antibiotic resistance. And so over time we need to find other ways to help eradicate bad bacteria. And so herbs can be part of that solution. I do think other antibiotics will eventually be created. And it's not to say that there's going to be resistance for everyone, but it's just to say that, yeah, sometimes if certain things don't work, there are, and there have always been, solutions within the herbal space as well. All right, guys, so that is it for today. Again, my name is Dr. Miles. I provide natural solutions for my clients in the areas of prevention, digestive health, so that includes gas and bloating, constipation, nausea, food sensitivity, as well as kidney function. So if you are interested in working with me, feel free to schedule an online consultation. I can work with you from anywhere. And you can schedule at drdevonmiles.com. And Devon is spelled with an I. All right, guys. You have a great day.